Hello everyone, my name is Jen and welcome to the Book Refuge. Alright everyone, I am so happy to be doing this video today. So I've made a couple possessive hero recommendations before, so I will go ahead and link those up there just so you know. Also, all the books I'm about to talk about will be linked down below, so if you're listening to me talk about one and you want to open up your Amazon to grab it, please use one of the affiliate links I have down below. It helps us both out. Well, mostly me. You, if you're going to get the book anyway, it helps you out because I have all the links down there. Me, it helps me out because it helps fund the channel here, which is great and helps me to have more books to talk about. So this one today is Obsessive Heroes, but I wanted to title it something that, you know, is a little bit quippy, is a little bit what we're doing. So I'm calling these the hero who have mine energy, right? They say like, she's mine, or that's my wife, or stay away from my wife, or you're mine. Basically, if they're saying that anyway, that's what I want. So I have 8 recommendations for this today. These are all books I've read in the past. Well, one of them is from like the beginning of this year. So books that I've read this year so far. And if these are the kind of heroes that you love, I hope you enjoy this so much. So one that I want to share about, which I'm putting in a lot of videos that I've read recently, but it just fits in so many categories. And that is Vicious Hearts by Jager Cole. I would also say this about Deviant Hearts, which is the first book in the series, but this one is about a like forced marriage, age gap, virgin heroine, mafia boss, kinky, possessive, and this man blackmails the woman who tried to murder him. Wow, I've just said a lot of words that are not great for YouTube ads, so please support my channel because about to get demonetized for this one. But Killian is super possessive. He's a bit of a psychopath. He even has some serial killing tendencies going on. But this woman who tries to unalive him in the beginning, he wants her for himself because he's just stunned by her boldness and her audacity, and also her like he's just intrigued by her. And you know, it happens to also work for his plans to force her into marrying him for to get some peace within his mafia, because like there's reasons and there's things. But this one is super spicy, super intense. There are hand necklaces and primal play and impact play and just a whole list of fun and spicy things going on with this one. But I highly recommend. Book 1 and 2 in this series are out now. The third one is coming out in just a week or two, I believe, June 9th. So a little over a week. So very much love this. Next, just to, you know, mess with your head and switch it up, I just reread Tempt Me at Twilight by Lisa Kleypas, and I would say many Kleypas heroes fit into the mine energy, okay, like so many of them do. But this one, having just reread this, I feel like this one doesn't get mentioned as much. And this is Harry Routledge, who is a hotelier and basically a billionaire. Like, I call this one a millionaire, billionaire romance because he's that type of wealth going on. He's a self-made man, as Lisa Kleypas is well known for doing. And he sees Poppy in a very interesting scenario. So she and her family are staying at his hotel, I think for overnight. They've been like visiting someone in town, and her Poppy's sister's ferret has escaped, and he's like running through the corridors, and she ends up taking a back passage to chase after this ferret, and she ends up in private room she shouldn't be in and runs into Harry Routledge. And she doesn't know that this is Harry, the owner of this hotel that she runs into. He lets her assume that he's like a steward or like a manager of the hotel. And he's just immediately intrigued by her. So after their interaction, he also ended up in possession of a love letter that she had sent or was sending to her sweetheart, or someone she wants to be her sweetheart. And he gets a hold of this, and he goes about finding out everything he can about her, finding everything he can about this man that she's in love with, and then he goes about blowing that up so that he can have her. So after one engagement with her, he goes about making her his wife. And there is some fallout from that for sure, but he doesn't care because he's like, well, I got her now. I don't have to worry about losing her to someone else. But the thing is, has no hope of getting her heart now because of the way he acted, and he doesn't think he wants it. But when he sees her smile at anyone else or sees her pine over someone else, he's like, she's mine. Why am I feeling something hurting in my chest? What's going on? He's definitely that one that like, ow, my chest's hurting. What are feelings? What's going on, right? And I love how this one played out. So when we talk about a possessive, obsessive hero, Harry Rutledge needs to be on the list, but not quite as toxic as maybe some of these other men that we're talking about. So it could be a good alternative if you like the possessiveness, but you don't want, you know, mafia serial killer. Fair enough. Fair enough. And while we're talking about the sweeter side, we might as well share another one who he is absolutely ooey gooey precious, but still will cut a bitch or a warlock if they come after his girl. So we, of course, have Henry from Grimm and Barrett. Yes, I got to show off my beautiful print. The day that I'm recording this, tomorrow, is when the Kickstarter drops for the hardcovers of these, which will still be up. I'll link the Kickstarter down below because it's not going to sell out. It's like a pre-order thing. So, yeah, it's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. So anyway, sorry, sidetracked. I'm thinking about all the beautiful things. So Henry is a Grimm. Clara is a witch. This takes place in New Orleans. The tension has been growing between them for 5 books now. And at the beginning of this book, Clara is like, hey, dude, ask me on a date. Let's do it. And now, while that may annoy some people because they're like, well, Clara had to do all the work. The thing is Henry is scared of hurting Clara. He's a Grimm, particularly a type of Grimm that's a Grimlock. He has special powers that are very dangerous, and it makes him feel like he couldn't be a proper partner for Clara. And Clara says, that's ridiculous. This is going to happen. And as soon as she kind of like gives him that little push, he's completely all in. Not for 1 second does he waver. He really just was afraid of hurting her with his powers, and she really gives him that go-ahead. And then he's like, this precious pink cupcake, she's mine. She's mine. Okay, look, there's even pretty pink cupcakes on the front. So I absolutely adore them. And I think actually, you know, every hero that Juliet writes is a possessive, mine energy hero. So you really can't go wrong with any of her books, not just the Stay a Spell, but her Vampire Blood series, her Dragon series are all very possessive, fated mate stories, basically. All right, then I want to throw in one that, just because like I haven't heard enough like positive stuff being said about this book, and I know it didn't work for everyone, but it really worked for me, and I'm very intrigued with where this series is going to go. So I am recommending for this one Dangerous Innocence by Cora Riley, and this one is a first in a new series by her. It's not connected to her previous Mafia worlds at all, fresh start. And this series is going to end up taking place in Ireland for the most part, although this one does have some parts in Ireland, but it's not like fully over there yet. But this one has our heroine who is looking for her sister who's been missing for a while, and it may be that her sister doesn't want to be found, but our heroine is tired of not hearing from her. So she packs up and goes to New York to try to go to the places that her sister was last at. Now, what she didn't know before the beginning of this book is how much her family is involved in the mafia, and there is a reason that her and her mother have lived kind of the poor life that they have. Her mother is very much in debt to the mafia, but is trying to stay off their radar. And so when she goes over there, she finds herself embroiled in the current state of the Irish mafia over there, and she catches the eye of one of the heads of the mafia over there, and he decides to make her his because she goes to the wrong place at the wrong time. He ends up bidding on her for a night of pleasure. He does a little bit with her, but he doesn't push her all the way. And then he goes about making her his wife because he really could demand a lot more than just her as his wife, but instead he decides to make her his queen, which is a really, really good offer. The thing is, she decides to take the offer to use him to try to help her find her sister, but he's not planning to let her go anytime soon. So I enjoyed how this one played out. The heroine did get a little bit frustrating, but I also thought because she wasn't raised in the mafia the way that a lot of heroines who act stupid are, you know, like you'll read some of these mafia romances and it's like, you were raised in this. Why are you behaving this way? Like, you should know better than to piss such and such off. Well, she wasn't raised that way, so she doesn't have quite the same reasoning for that. But anyway, I enjoyed this one a lot, so that's why I brought it up. Next, and this might surprise some people, granted for how I rated this book, but I think it definitely fits this category, and for a lot of people will have a different opinion about it than I did, and I'm not too good to share it. So I want to recommend Liars Like Us for this possessive hero type. Now, there's a lot of secrets going on around this, and this book also just released, so I don't want to share too much, but I'll also say, you know, even just turning over here, any book you read by J.T. Geisinger is going to have a possessive hero. They just do. And this one is no different, but this one is a marriage of convenience, or so the hero says that it is. The heroine is a bookstore owner who's about to lose it and lose the, you know, jobs for all of her employees who are her friends, and so he offers her $10 million to be his wife. The reasons for that, they are paper thin, okay? They are paper thin. But it's this hunky, beautiful man who's offering her $10 million and a signed, personalized copy of Outlander by Dana Gabaldon. So who is she to say no? To say no to that. And then we enjoy some, you know, very good spicy times. And though I think that some, you know, plot devices in this were a little bit shaky, I enjoyed the setup for the series. I'm very intrigued where she's going to go next. And again, this fits into the possessive and obsessive hero with flying colors. It fits. So we're recommending it. Next, I want to recommend God of Wrath by, not just a king, a God of Wrath by Rena Kent. This one is book 3 in her Legacy of the Gods series. And this one is Cicely and I forgot the hero's name, I'm sorry. Cicely and Jeremy. And they are a part of like rival, like they're not quite mafia, but like rival elite families. That's what a lot of the ones in this series are. And this one involves some games that these two end up playing and the back and forth between them. And at one point, I think it's his sister gets kidnapped by like her friend, and so that caused a rift between them, but he just can't quite give her up because she's his toy, and he will decide when they're done playing and not a moment before. And those are the kind of stories that Rena Kent writes, and you know what, they don't always work for me. But this year I was very surprised by the Legacy of the God series. I read God of Malice for a reading vlog where I was trying books that I was really nervous about, and I'm so glad I did because I really have enjoyed all 3 books in this series so far, and all of them are very possessive, obsessive heroes. Some of them have the beginnings of serial killer tendencies, and maybe these ladies help them tiptoe back from that a little bit. Maybe they do. It's good. It's good stuff. Then I want to mention The Right Move by Liz Tom Ford, and now I love this one because this one starts really slow, and Ryan Shea, a god among men, really, isn't expecting to have anything with this girl who has invaded his privacy, his home, his sanctuary, where he's able to be himself because his sister, who he loves with his whole heart and soul, is living with her boyfriend / I'm not sure if he's her fiance yet. I think he's just her boyfriend at the start of this one. And her best friend just broke up with her boyfriend and has nowhere to go. And so she's like, can she stay with you? And Ryan agrees very reluctantly. And she just kind of takes over his life in a whirlwind. And slowly he realizes that she hasn't ruined his sanctuary. She's become his sanctuary. And there's some other beautiful things in this. Like Ryan is currently celibate because the last time he let his emotions and his body get away with him, he got hurt very badly by it. And so he's guarding his heart. And I like it in this because the way he chooses to guard his heart isn't to go have a bunch of flings and affairs and just fuck everything that moves, which is a viable playboy option that we see them do. But for him, that isn't the choice. He chooses to be celibate. He chooses to be in charge of himself and control. But then when this heroine, Indy, comes into his life and just kind of blows that all up, he realizes that playing it safe isn't what he wants for his whole life. He's willing to risk it again. And watching him slowly grow possessive of her, but still encourage her independence and her strength is so beautiful. The delicate balance that is reached with this story is so beautiful. I love it. I love it so much, y'all. It makes my heart so, so, so happy to see. So highly, highly recommend this book. Yeah, I think she's so talented. And then the last one I want to mention, I just want to throw in a fun one here. This one is novella length, but it definitely fits into this possessive thing. This one's also an arranged marriage, and it's called The Ice Giant by Lila Faye. This is the only Lila Faye that I've read. But this one, yes, it's arranged marriage. There are these people that really the only way for them to be like safe and their families well fed is if they will offer themselves up to marriage to these certain like monsters or creatures who need to like breed with human women. And so our ice giant, he's the king of his people, and he needs to have a human wife because there are ice giant females, but they basically can go and they can like fuck whoever they want. And the babies they have then like stay with the fathers. And so you never really get to like commitment from an ice giant female. And so these kings who still need to breed and continue their line, they will make these deals with human women. So yeah, this one is really quick, really fast, but I felt like it fits into this possessiveness because right away he feels very protective, very, loving over his human bride. And when he has someone who tries to take her from him, he will obliterate them. And I love to see it. I love to see it. So, all right, so this one was a quicker recommendation. I'm really proud of myself. We kept it under 20 minutes, which is great. So like I said, I have links below for all these books. If you'd like to snap them up, let me know your favorite possessive, mine, energy heroes. Like I said, also linked up here, I have other obsessive hero recs that I've made. So thank you so much for watching, friends, and I'll see you next time. Bye.